I want to introduce JoRob. He's a singer, producer, performer, all for his own production company, JoRob Productions. He's also the owner and CEO of Waldron Music Group, which is where he does his publishing, and I'm sure he'll talk a bit about that. JoRob, I had a blast meeting you last week, and thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So for those who haven't had a chance to sit on a deck and drink a drink and talk with you, talk about a bit about your background, where you're from, who you are, and what you do.
All right. So I'm actually from the Washington, D.C. area. I consider myself a true Washingtonian. I mean, I've moved all over through the DMV, Virginia, Maryland, but DC's always been my home. I've been doing music ever since I've been in like middle school. It was just something about music that made me feel good, so I kind of just started doing it. People started randomly hearing me, singing or hear something that I've written personally by myself. And, after a while, it just kind of went from there and it got bigger. And I want to say by the time I got to high school, that's when I really started taking it like really serious. So I mean, ever since then, I've just been trying to build on my craft and, do whatever I can to just make things happen in the entertainment community via me.
So now in high school, what's that look like? Doing local gigs or just writing music? What does that look like?
So it's kind of, it's funny. So the way that it really started was some cheerleaders heard me in the hallway singing, and they were in like the choir, and they pulled me to the side because I also played football. So they pulled me to the side and say, "Hey, you have to sing in the choir." You know what I mean? So from there, I mean, they kind of just, pushed me really hard to kind of stay with it because that's really traditional. And I was just kind of fooling around. I couldn't read music. I didn't know half notes from quarter notes. You know what I mean? So, they kind of helped push me outside of the fact that, growing up, it was kind of difficult for me. I grew up in a single mother household. I had brothers and sisters. And it was kind of the only way I could kind of, cope with all of the things that were going on in my life. It's almost like writing a book. You lock yourself in a room and you write what you feel. And that's a way that you can kind of express yourself without, I guess, expressing yourself to other people. Right. So, that's kind of how I really started. I mean, it helped me be a better person and helped me kind of cope with, everything that was going on when I was younger, and that's really what it did for me.
So then from high school, did you go into some sort of college program to learn music, or did you take a more non-traditional route and kind of learn it in your own way?
So it's funny you asked it. I kind of did it both ways. So I started out at Morgan State, which is located in Baltimore. I was in the choir that they had there, and it was actually a pretty like well-known choir. We did shows for like the King of Zimbabwe. Oh, wow. Everyone, they had everyone from like Montel Jordan and like Bill Cosby and all of these other kind of high-ranked people there with like Secret Service all around us, so we were doing stuff with like the Baltimore Symphony, so I started kind of understanding music a little bit when I was there. But after a while, it was kind of more just understanding the business. So I kind of started doing a lot more stuff in terms of the marketing. It just so happens I was pretty good at being an IT person. So I taught myself search engine optimization, building websites, those kind of things. And that really helped me now understand the business side of music, because I wanted to not just be a person, singing for friends. I wanted to sing for the world. Right. So so it's kind of a little bit of both.
All right. And then, I mean, college has probably been a little while. I mean, how do you continue to grow in this particular art? What for you, what did that look like? I mean, did you have to learn more instruments or learn new techniques? How does that look?
Man, so one thing about the music industry, it's all over the place. It's a beast. So a lot of it is just the business aspect of it all. I mean, just being able to go on YouTube or read books. I met with a lot of people who are in pretty high places in the music industry. And, they kind of gave me information, what to look for, what to do, because, I wanted to become like a major artist. But then after a while, I started understanding how it worked and the pros and cons, more cons than pros if you're a major, like for instance, as a independent artist, I hold all my money. Like I get all of my dividends. I don't owe anybody. If you're at a major, the kind of deals that they give you, like these contracts are written in Greek, no one knows what these contracts mean. And at the end of the day, people kind of get screwed over. So,
right. The company, the agent, everybody gets a cut, right?
Exactly. Everyone gets a cut. I mean, even the owner's sister gets a cut, from there, I just a lot of research. I mean, I failed at a lot, but from those fails, I've gained a lot. It helped me become a better artist, a better entertainer, a better businessman. I opened up a facility. I had that open for about 5 to 6 years, located right in Maryland. Full-fledged from recording studio, dance studio. You can shoot music videos. We had a green screen. I mean, we had everything. I built the studio myself, and then after a while, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more exclusive, because it started taking away from who I was as an artist. I couldn't focus on myself. I was doing a lot more for other artists, so I decided, we're gonna kind of change that out. Now my studio is a little bit more it's exclusive. So only certain people that I know, that I trust, can come and we can jam out. So,
well, and you can control the time, like you said, to produce your own stuff as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's something I've met a few people who like to write, right? And they also find that same problem. They're working a full-time job, and then they're helping others do stuff, and then they run out of time for their own art.
Right. Yeah. And it's not hard. It's not hard to run out of time, because honestly, I think any artist who loves what they do, they could do it 24 hours a day, and all artists honestly, I feel like, we do it for free, but that's why we need like managers and agents, because if someone say, hey, can you do this? 9 times out of 10, we're like, well, we love what we do and we can do it for free. So we kind of need a bad guy to be in our corner every now and then and say, hey, you have to put some money out for this,
right?
So it's pretty funny.
So as you've kind of done this thing, I mean, this is fascinating, since you're an independent artist, you're doing this yourself and controlling your own company and your ability to record and make the music for yourself. Are you doing a lot of collaborations? Are you creating all of the track, right? All the different sounds in the track, are you bringing other people in to help you do that? How's that work when you create your product? What's that creative process look like?
So it depends on who I'm dealing with. I've done collaborations for a lot of artists. I've written music for artists from different countries, where I'll write it in English and then they'll translate it into their language. Production for record labels, independent record labels, or for artists. It's kind of like being in the right place at the right time around the right people. So I might be in someone else's studio and some artists come in and they like what I'm doing, and it's kind of like you just match up and you say, you know what, let's do it. So and I always love that, because it's just really organic. Like, you don't want it to seem like a job. Once it seems like a job, it's not fun anymore. So the more organic, all of these things happen while you're trying to be creative, it just makes it even, that much better.
So as you've gone through this process over the years, what's something you've recognized about that industry that you would change, that you would say, look, this is just a bad way to do it. We should reconsider that. Maybe if you don't even have the solution, but what's something they should reconsider?
So there are a few things, but I think the biggest thing now is, it's almost like music is cookie cutter. And when I say that, it's the same. Once someone gets hot, you have 10 other people behind them who are doing the exact same thing. And I hate that. You know what I mean? Like, I find myself now, I don't listen to the radio. I don't. I listen to instrumentals without vocals on it. You know what I mean? Because I already know what they're going to say before they say it. So it's like, you know what? Let me just listen to something without them singing or rapping on it. You know, so I mean, that's one of the main things I think the industry should change. I think there should be a lot more creativity. You know, I understand there's business, but I mean, as a consumer, you know, you want to hear different things. You know, if you look back in the 90s, the 80s, from rock and roll and R&B, there were so many different groups doing so many collaborations. I mean, the collaborations that you would, you know, hear would be like, oh my God, I never thought that collaboration would happen.
Right.
Nowadays, you don't really see that much, you know. So I definitely think that's a major change. And you know, the whole age thing. I'll give you a prime example. In the country and rock and roll genres, I mean, I've been to rock concerts and seeing people who are like 30 times older than me. They're still touring. Touring. In the hip hop and R&B community, it's like they put a timestamp on you.
Oh, wow.
You know, they definitely do. So, you know, they'll say, hey, once you're out to this age, you know, we don't want you anymore. But it's not about that. It's about the creativity of it all. You know, how do you sound writing music? You know, so I think that's another change that you know, if I was in a position to change it, I would change it, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I listened to a lot of genres of music, but I had not noticed that about R&B or hip hop, that there's like a expiration date, kind of like movie stars, right? There sometimes expiration dates on certain movie stars.
Exactly.
If they age out, that's definitely something that's because you're right. I mean, shoot, if Air Supply or somebody came through right now, I'd probably go see them, right? I mean,
right, exactly.
Why not? I couldn't afford it when I was a kid. I mean, I can go now when I can afford it.
Exactly. Yep.
So how do those kind of challenges influence the way you do it then?
I think the way that it influences me, so one, I kind of like to go against the grain when I'm writing music. You know, I'm more of a retro style kind of guy. I love the 90s, you know, so a lot of my music, like the way that I build my harmonies when I sing or when I'm writing something, they're kind of geared more around 90s artists, primarily R&B, but I also like to step outside of R&B. I've done, you know, pop records. I'm trying to work on like a country style record. I've done everything from older school sounding R&B music to newer sounding. And then I recently did a production album for a meditation museum where it's just all vibing music. You know, it's just something that feels good. You know, you can sit there and just zone out, you know, and there's a song on that album for every feeling that you have, you know. So doing that, I mean, that project was one of my funnest projects I think I've ever done, you know, because it kind of made me step outside of what I'm used to. And the lady that I work with, Sister Jenna, she was wonderful. Like, I met everyone who she was affiliated with, you know, and I mean, they loved me, I love them, and we just put something beautiful together. And I think a lot of people are kind of liking it now because, I mean, it's getting a lot of play. So, I mean,
I told you right before we started recording, I've been listening to that one on repeat all week since I met you. I'm really enjoying that album. So is that the benefit for you of being an independent person who controls their kind of their own, what they want to do? You can dabble in all these different genres.
Definitely. That's one of the main things I like about being an independent artist. You can do whatever you want to do, and no one can tell you how to do it. You know, and you also get to reap the benefits of, you know, keeping all of the money that you make instead of someone taking it from you. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what's up for you next? Where are you headed, or where do you see your business or your art going here in the mid to late near future?
So honestly, so I'm working on something new, a new project for myself. But I really see myself doing a lot more writing for like placements for
Mhm.
like television, movies, video games. You know, I had the opportunity to work with ABC Family. I put music on their network. Years back, I did something for MTV. Like that's really fun to me because now, it's another way in to let people see who you are in the masses. When you're on a television network now, everyone's hearing your stuff.
Right.
So and you don't have to go out and perform on a stage or do anything like that, which I mean, I used to do that. I still do it, but I kind of like the background scene a little bit more because I can relax a little bit. There's not all this you got to really you got to show out, you got to perform, you know what I mean. I guess I'm becoming more of an introvert now, so and I'm liking it because again, all I have to do is create some music and get it out to a product placement, and if they take it, I'll get a check up front, check in the next quarter, and then I'm getting dividends forever
Right.
for what I put out. So I mean, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all of us who were extroverts probably became a little more introverted because of COVID, if nothing else,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So do you have this album you're working on for yourself? Is there like a time frame? How long does that typically take for you?
Honestly, it's like whenever I feel that it's done. Like
Inspiration's got to hit the right way.
yeah, it's just gotta feel good. Feel good. Like I've already written like 200 songs, and a lot of them that I did write, they're actually not to any kind of production. So it's finding the right production or using my production, making sure that the whole album kind of meshes together. There's a theme, it's like a book, a start, a climax, a finish, and there's a lot to it, especially because I like to build marketing packages behind it too. So if I'm going to put something out, I need to know, okay, when am I going to drop it? What's the best time to drop it? How I'm going to drop it? Am I going to do it straight digital? Am I going to, press CDs up, or am I going to do a vinyl set? Because people are starting to do vinyl again, like a lot of DJs. Am I going to do a heavy web-based kind of campaign for it? Use Instagram, Facebook, or get an ad on a bus? So it just depends. And then also the mixing and mastering aspect of it all, which is always pretty fun to be in that, be there when someone's mixing that, so you can actually really hear it. Because when you're doing something like by yourself, you become kind of biased to it. So to have a different ear, who they don't know you, they've never heard it before, they didn't hear it a million times when you were there doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now they can hear it with an unbiased ear, a trained unbiased ear, and now they can tell you, hey, you might want to do this, you might want to do that, or now you're really hearing it, like where with all of the new speakers, they have state-of-the-art speakers and outboard equipment, like analog equipment that's throwing all your music through, and you start hearing the crispiness of the music, hearing all the sounds and tones and beats. I mean, like, it's like heaven on earth when you're in that situation, So, the answer to your question is, there's not really a time for it, but, like an actual time frame. But when I feel it, that's when I'll drop it. I'm hoping it's before the end of the year, but we'll see.
All right. Well, that just means I have to keep checking and keep
Yeah.
watching, and
Yes,
then I'll be able to hear the latest stuff. So,
yeah.
well, JoRob, thanks for coming on the podcast today. This has been an awesome conversation. I'm really looking forward to it. It's nice getting to know you, and your music's fantastic. So I hope we have an opportunity to introduce it to some more people.
Definitely. I appreciate you.